Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Lake Hot Rods. Today we're still working on, obviously the only project in the shop, 62 Falcon all-wheel drive project. And I've been doing a lot of little buttoning up stuff here and there, tidying up brake lines, and had to reflare a couple that were giving me a fit. I got a lot put together. I'm getting ready for, just to take it to the car show that I want to take it to and kind of debut it locally. So that was really my main focus, is to get everything put back together. And the only system I haven't tested yet is the radiator system, the cooling system. And I got the upper radiator hose and lower radiator hose connected, and power steering and all that. Just the fluids, the last bit of fluids that I needed to seal up. And everything fits. It is extremely tight. I really wish, in hindsight, I would have pushed this motor back about an inch and a half, 2 inches. That would have given me all the room I need up front. There's plenty of room under the dash now with the custom dash and all that. So there's more than enough room, and it wouldn't have had a problem fitting. But my only issue was seeing where this transmission tunnel would have hit. That would have been a problem. So I'm kind of squeezing in, 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound box, if you will. So, the old saying. But anyway, I got all the vitals hooked up, and we're going to do a test on the radiator fluid coolant. We're going to do a test on the coolant today and try to crank it up and pressurize it, see if it'll come up to temp, and see how that goes, where I welded the neck on and all that, test my welds. I did walk up to it a minute ago here. Let me get this turned around. I got someone to weld the lower radiator inlet on, the aluminum radiator, because my skill level is a little bit not that good. So just wanted to make sure it got on there pretty good and sealed up. I am, however, going to attempt to weld to this cast aluminum manifold that I bought a while back. I'm having a hard time getting a radiator hose to fit in here. As you can see, it's very tight. So I ordered this bend and actually ended up cutting about 2 inches of it off to get a nice tight radius right there. But the original manifold had a straight pipe coming out of it, and I had to use a slide hammer to snatch that bad boy out. So we cut this tube down, and my attempt is, I wanted to slide it in there, but this tube is just too big, and I forgot I ordered it to match the upper hose diameter of the radiator, so that way I have to have one hose instead of trying to find two bends at a different size and use a reducer and just a lot of extra components I'm trying to eliminate, and possible leak points. So my idea is to clock this in such a way that I could use another 92 hose right here, and then I've already got my 190 into the radiator hose, and I'll just have a short little run right there. Unfortunately, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hose clamps on the upper radiator hose. I should have bought, if I'd seen it before I ordered this, I would have ordered 2, and that way I'd have another 90 bend. My thought was originally to do it like that, and then have another 90, clock it that way, and then just run the straight tube into the hose like that, and then weld all that together. But again, my welding of aluminum is not the best, so I'm not sure how well that'll work anyway. I really like the way that looks, so I may end up ordering another tube and just say the heck with it and do that. And that way I've got this welded, and then one radiator hose with 2 clamps instead of 4, however many I just said. But we managed to get the belt on. I modified this pulley here, the bracket, so I kind of got a dummy pulley in place. It's pretty close to where the AC pump will sit. I went actually on Holley's website, and for this front runner kit, they actually list the belt length. So I just went with that, and it fit right on where I had my pulley. Obviously, I had to make some adjustments there where I got several different threaded holes to make this move up and down where I wanted it. And I'm going to trim that off just to pretty it up for now. I may go ahead and order air conditioning and get all that and try to start mocking that up, but still haven't decided. There's 2 companies out there that I'm looking at, that one's been around for a long time, and the others, I would say they're fairly new. They're new to me. I haven't heard of them a lot, but I want to do some more research on their product before I decide on what to buy. It's kind of pricey. So all in all, we're making a lot of good headway, and that's how it rolls. A little nitpicky stuff will bog you down. Probably gonna run the steam port and run a stainless line in there. I got some stainless tubing that I can use and a little fitting to pop in there. I was thinking about trying to make a compression fitting on this and see if that'll work. I've got an extra one of these, so I'll try it on that before I cut my good one and see how that goes, how it seals up. The last thing on my list of things to figure out is the power steering lines. I've got a handle on what fitting it is. I just need to figure out a clean way to route the hose and get the fitting for the pump inlet. So it's a high pressure line, so I gotta make sure I get the right fittings and the right line for that. So brakes are done. Gotta get cooling, power steering, and the function of the actual engine. It will drive and run. Also got the turn signal indicator and the high beams and the check engine light installed there. Got the brake booster and master cylinder in. Unfortunately, the cap hits my windshield wiper arm, so I've got to change this reservoir back to the old style that I've got, and that's sitting right there. So I've got to swap that out. It's a little shorter. It is not the factory one, and it's a little tall, so it is what it is. Not a big deal. Just swap it out, and got a little set pin that pushes in there and holds it in place. So easy peasy. I just got to pull it all back out, and that's the part that's the pain in the butt. So got my crossover tube for my heater hose. I got to get the fittings in for that, and we'll be able to cross that over and cross that off the list. We're getting there. Went ahead and put on the new wheels and tires that I got back, and I think I may have a little bit of an issue on the front edge there on the fender. When I turn, I don't have the steering wheel or column hooked up yet, so I'm trying to eyeball it, but I think it's gonna be really, really close, if not hit there. So may have a problem with that. Other than that though, they fit really good, and I like the way they fill in the wheel arch real well. Well, I turned the wheel, got it steering kind of loosely hooked up, and boy, do I just clear. I can't fit my finger through there, but clearing's clearing, right? I also got to put the brace underneath the fender so I can adjust this out just a touch. I don't want to do it too much because it'll flare out other parts of the fender and make it a little weird. But if I push that out of there, even where I got it now, I'm not worried about that at all. A bump is actually going to make it clear better. So I don't have any fear of hitting that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Lucky dog right there. That's all that is. Dumb luck. Anyway, they fit, they clear. Gone ahead and got my other tube in and got that cut and fit in place. So that's my new radiator hose. Just got to weld that. Well, it seems like I got extremely lucky with this. This is a factory hose off of a square body S10 Blazer. And with a little bit of creative tweaking, it's going to roll like that, go into the pump, and this line will go up and into the pump here, and then down into the steering box. We just took a tubing bender and bent this, just tightened up the 90 a little bit, and it fits really good. I run a factory line, and I'm going to just get some new O-rings for it so that the compression fitting won't leak on me. But so other than that, I got the return line. It's a factory line as well, so lucky day for me. So power steering lines are crossed off the list. And once I get this tube here, I went ahead and welded my sections together. I just got to get it welded to the manifold, actually tie it all together. And the cooling system will be done. I got a slight little leak on my brake lines, and I think I messed up my flare. So that's how that goes. So I've got to redo the flare on one end of it, and hopefully that'll fix the leak I got. I also redid the hot side of the battery lead coming into the car. So this is going to come from the battery, and this mounted in the trunk over there. I'm looking down into the package tray here, so it gives you kind of an idea where I'm looking. And I found this terminal block that's got a 175 amp fuse. It's off of a round body Blazer of all things. You can find those underneath the battery compartment if you want to find one in the scrapyard. And it's got a little bracket that comes off the fuse block there. Put some studs on it. So this will be my lead going into the car. This will be my hot side of my battery and its fuse. So before I did not have a fuse on it, and I kind of felt like it's probably a better option to have a fuse. So that's settled. Get my cable cut and length in the correct length. Put a little lug on it, and we'll be good to go. Those are the little things that got to be done, and you just kind of forget about it until it's time to you got nothing left on your list but little things like that. So all in all, it's pretty good. It's coming along really well. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, it's down on all 4 tires for the first time ever, and it looks really good. Stance is good, and it clears, so I'm happy with all that. All right, so I did a little welding on the manifold here. I was pretty reluctant to do so because I don't weld aluminum, but it ain't the prettiest one, but I tell you what, it's going to hold water. That's a lot of weld there, and just playing with this welder, I'm not 100% familiar with it, and plus I'm not a TIG welder, but we got a pretty good weld on it. I'm pretty happy with it. Went ahead and welded my overflow bottle as well. Welded a bracket to that, and I'm going to mount that underneath the fender. But like I said, I'm pretty stoked with it. Grind it and powder coat it, and probably do the aluminum here. I'll grind that down and get it prettied up. Once it cools off, I can't even touch the thing. It's so hot. But once I got the amps up on this welder, it's just started flowing smooth. So I'm pretty happy with that. Build my confidence up a little bit with aluminum. It's not something I do very often, but now that I have kind of figured out this machine a little bit, it's a little prime weld machine. It's not mine, I borrowed it. So just trying to figure out the 3,000 buttons and knobs on the front of it. Once you figure out the settings, it actually welds pretty good. So, but like I said, we'll get this cooled down. We'll put it back in the car. We'll get everything put back together and hope my radiator tube is lined up where I needed it. And man, oh man, we are making some progress today. I know I use that word a lot, but I feel like I make a lot of progress. So that's what I'm going to use. We've been fighting all day with brake line, with one particular brake line leaking. And I realized, I still don't think I've fixed it 100%. I think I'm going to have to redo the line. The flare is just not acting right. I've reflared it. I cut the end off, reflared it again, double flare brake line. I'm using the steel tubing instead of that nickel copper stuff that everybody uses. It's a little softer and probably way more forgiving. Went the harder route, a little bit harder route. I wanted to do stainless, but that right there is a whole nother can of worms. But I've got a pretty good pedal right now. I still got a slight leak up here on the front, and I just did a little more dug on the fitting, so I'm hoping that'll solve that issue. Still gonna keep an eye on it. But like I said, I got a good pedal. We bled all 4 wheels, and got a good feeling pedal. Had to make a few little modifications to the pedal because it was hitting the bracket. It's really the first time I put a hard pressure on it and with fluid in it. So, you know, just finding little issues here and there, but nothing major. Other than blowing the entire interior out of the car, which might not be much, but it's a lot to do. Got the column back in. Only thing I had to remodify the blinker assembly inside, which is kind of custom anyway, but I got to get a horn button mechanism for it, and that's good. The transmission is actually correct orientation as far as the cable operating the park to first. I thought I had it backwards, but putting the drive shaft in, it's lined up correctly. So got the back end up off the ground, and I wanted to do a test fire because on top of brake lines, I got my upper radiator tube welded together. It doesn't look pretty, but I'm not an aluminum welder and never going to claim to be, but it is going to be tested for leaks. This tube here is my upper radiator tube, and it goes into this little 90 and into the radiator inlet there. So got that in. Got power steering lines hooked up, so all my fluids are hopefully tidied up and contained. That was kind of the idea. I did my little steam port line there. I think I've already shown that, and that just lines up in there pretty easy. Lower radiator hose is on. Don't think I see anything that's going to hang up in the belts. So I got my battery on charge right now. It's just a used battery out of my boat, and I haven't put the boat in the water yet, so of course the battery's dead. While I'm on, I got oil in the engine, and I wanted to do add some transmission fluid because I know it's as empty as can be. Guess what? This little fancy doodad down here won't hold. One of my small funnels. So got to figure out a creative way to get oil in that little filler tube. Yeah, it might be cute and cuddly and hidden and nice looking, but it ain't taking. You ain't putting a lot of fluid in there at one time. I can tell you that. I don't know how people fill them with that, but that's my next task. And then I got to hook the computer back up, and then I'm gonna put the battery in it, and I'll get you guys back to see if we can get it fired up. I did also get the grill modified. I know the wiring back there for the blinkers is not correct. I'm gonna tuck that in and hide that, but got my little Falcon script there. And I found enough of this material left over where I cut it, and I'm gonna fill in these voids with the plastic weld, and I'm gonna weld it all together and clean that up. And then I'll just paint the rest of that black from what you can see, put my headlight rings on, and that'll be nice and tidy. Also gonna fill this gap in. I still gotta do that. I'm not 100% sure which direction I want to go. I may change the way this mounts, and mounts here with a little flange maybe, and then come on over with it from there and straight on down. That way it can kind of eliminate that gap. It's kind of unsightly. I did walk up to it as I got into the shop and noticed a big puddle under the car. Just what you want to start dealing with is a greasy mess. So we'll get that dug out of there. We'll get that cleaned up. We'll get the car jacked up in the air and get some room under it where we can get that pan and do some investigating. That's how we're gonna start the day. So I got the oil pan off, and of course I got fluid everywhere, and I got oil dry over there kind of cleaning up my mess. I hate the oil dry because it just leaves the floor gritty, and I can't stand that. But I am going to, while I got this pan off, before I put it on before, I wanted to put a drain plug in it, and I forgot to grab one. They make a little kit at your major parts houses. But I'm gonna make my own with this piece of adjuster sleeve for a heavy thread, and I've got a plug. And I'm gonna just slice off a little bit, enough to keep some thread in there. I'm just gonna weld that to the pan. Who cares, whatever. I'll put a little O-ring on the bottom of that, or a rubber washer or nylon washer or something that can crush and kind of create a seal. And I'm gonna do this and hope that seals up. If not, I'll go buy that little kit that has the fancy nylon washer. I think it's like $7 or $8. And make my own. I don't need all that crap. It actually also sticks up a lot more than I want. I'm going to cut this maybe 1/4 of an inch, so that way it'll drain probably most of the fluid, if not all of it. Well, it ain't gonna drain all of it, but it'll drain more than enough fluid to drop this pan and not cause a mess. So get it cleaned up, get it degreased, and prep for welding. And I thought it was aluminum at first, but then I realized there's a magnet at the bottom of it, so that magnet is not going to stick to that aluminum. So we'll get it prepped. I got a little gasket cut for it, and hopefully that'll seal it up, because that's all it was. It was leaking from the gasket where I kept the original one on there, not really thinking about it. So I got to cut these out and got it marked out. This is gasket paper, and yeah, we'll do that. All right, now I just got to weld that into the pan. Got plenty of thread there. Be good to go. I'll probably end up shortening this bolt quite a bit. There's no need to have that much sticking into the pan. And also got to make sure I put it in the right spot so that it don't cause a problem. I don't want it sitting underneath the filter and hitting the filter, but I think with this little bit, I'm going to have enough room to get away with pretty much wherever I want. There you go. And like I said, I'll probably put a little washer or nylon piece of rubber around the bolt flange there, or whatever you call that, and it'll squeeze up in there and get it nice and tight and seal up. It's a little sneak peek of the sound you get out of this. It's louder than I want it, but it'll do for now for sure. I am obviously leaking transmission fluid still, but we did test and see that the transmission goes into gear correctly, so the shifter is correctly hooked up. So just running through it. Well, unfortunately, we weren't able to drive the car around the yard a little bit, but we did test out all the systems. It'll go into gear, it'll brake. I've got a major leak in the transmission transfer case adapter. So I've got to fiddle with that. It could be a weld. It could be the way I made it seal up. It's kind of custom. So all in all, I'm really happy with the progress we made today. Cooling system sealed up and cools. The gauge is red. I got it up to 200 and that's where it's at. And it actually back down to 190, just parked here in the garage running idling. So got oil pressure, put fluid in the diff. The gear ran through the gears. The shifter's working correctly. And like I said, the diff sounded didn't have a problem at all. So all in all, I'm freaking stoked with what we did today. It'll run and idle, and I'm really close. Once I get this leak in the transmission fixed, I'm gonna put her around the yard and do some little testing there. I want to get the brake bias. I want to tinker with that. I've never dealt with the adjustable brake bias for the rear, so got to learn. I got to figure some of the things out with that. But I mean, like I said, pretty happy with the progress. Other than one transmission leak, everything else was great. The coolant lines weren't leaking. The transmission or the power steering lines didn't leak. I put some power steering fluid in it. No fuel leaks. Radiator, no hole. Where I modified it, no hole, no leaks. So it really did check off a lot of things on my list. So anyway, we'll keep at it. We'll solve this one by one. They're not major hurdles. It's just going to take all day to take that transfer case out and fix all that crap. Or at least it's going to take a good bit of the day to fix all that. So we'll get after it again, and we'll stay on it until we get it fixed. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching Big Leg Hot Rods. Make sure y'all like, you share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.